In this class, I'm going to show you how we can install cygwin on your Windows machine. The first thing I want you to do is first set up some folders. Create these folders called cygwin, where you are going to install cygwin, and under downloads folder in your user directory, create a folder called cygwin where we are going to download cygwin first. So to go to install cygwin, go to this URL cygwin.com install.html and install the 32-bit version or the 64-bit version based on the operating system that you have on your machine. And the way you check that is you go to your computer, right click on it, look at the properties, and then you can check whether you have a 64-bit operating system or a 32-bit operating system. Since we have the 64-bit operating system here, I'm going to download the cygwin for 64-bit. So here is this setup program for 64-bit version of Windows. So click on that. So it's downloading that. So this is a very small download, which let's run that. Say yes. Click next. And on this screen, choose a download source. So we are going to install from the internet. Okay. And say next. And here he's asking the root install directory. This is the directory where you want to install cygwin, and we are going to install it for all users on this computer, not just Rizwan. And I'm going to install it in cygwin is good enough. Say next. And he's asking you to select a local package directory. Okay, this is where the installation files will be stored initially. So here I'm going to choose under downloads folder. I've created a folder called cygwin. That way I know all my local files for cygwin are in this folder, so it won't clutter your downloads folder. And then say next. And now it is getting the list of mirror sites from where we can install cygwin from. So I'm going to you can choose any of these from here. So I'm going to choose the first one and say next. So now it is downloading all the cygwin files. So these are all the available packages. Okay, I'm just going to say the default. I'm going to choose default for everything, and it is saying that it needs to resolve some dependencies. Select the required packages which is recommended. Say next. So now it is getting from that URL boxsoft.com all the packages that it needs. So if you see here, it is downloading bash program. So it is downloading all the different kinds of Unix like utilities that you can run on Windows. So once you have the cygwin package installed, you can run all the Unix commands from the bash shell which cygwin provides. You can also run all Unix shell scripts. So anytime you want to develop or test some shell scripts, you can do that from the cygwin shell. Instead of going and logging into a Linux machine or a Unix machine, you can test it out on your local Windows machine using the cygwin toolkit. So it takes a little while to download all these utilities. It downloads them one by one. So this total one here tells you how much has completed. So far it looks like only one third of the program, one third of all the utilities have been downloaded. So it's going on and downloading all the other packages as well, all the dependent packages for every utility. So if you see here under your downloads cygwin folder, it is storing all the things that it is downloading from this boxoff.com. So under download cygwin, that's a place where you're going to store. It's like a temporary storage of all the cygwin files. It first downloads it here and then installs it into cygwin. So cygwin is the area where your runtime is located, and the download cygwin folder is a place where it first downloads and keeps it like a temporary copy of what it has downloaded. So don't delete what it has downloaded because there is a utility for that as well. Next time when you want to add some other package related to cygwin, it's going to again store it there and refer it to there. It's like a reference of what you have installed so far. So don't delete the download cygwin. So it looks like it is almost done because the total says it's almost done. So first it installs, downloads it, and now it is installing it actually. So it downloads everything into your user directory /download/cygwin, and then now it installs from there into cygwin. So it's installing all the packages now. We are almost there. It takes a little while because it's like you have like almost the entire Unix command line at your disposal once you install this. So there are a lot of binaries that it downloads. Now it's doing some post install operations. Okay, now when you come to this screen, it shows you some icons to create icons. So you choose the defaults, create icon on the desktop and add icon to the start menu and click finish. Now it has completed. Once it has completed, you will see this icon here called cygwin 64 terminal, and you will also see that in the start menu. So either you can double click the icon on your desktop, or you can go to the start menu and start it. So I'm going to double click that, and the first time you run cygwin, it will create some bash startup files, but the next time you run this, it doesn't do that. So if I close this and bring it up again, you will directly go to the bash shell, and once you are in the bash shell, it will take you to your home directory. If you type pwd, pwd stands for present working directory. So every Unix command has a meaning associated with it. So pwd is the current working directory or the present working directory, and your home directory is /home/ your username. And in this folder, I'll run some basic commands to see whether everything is working or not. If I say ls, it's going to list all the files. ls means list files. So right now it is showing empty. But if I say ls minus al, it's going to show me all the hidden files in that folder. Any file which starts with a dot is actually a hidden file. You don't need to see it. So these are all the startup files where you configure your environment for your bash shell. Okay, so I'll cover through some basic commands here. So we will go to this tutorial called, so go to this URL, so this is a URL where you can run some basic tutorials for Linux. The first one is tutorial 1, which is listing files and directories, making directories. So let's quickly go through this. So the first command that you run is ls, and then there's a command to make a directory, there's a command to change directories. So let's quickly do this here. So I'm going to create a directory called test, and then mkdir stands for make directory. A directory is like a folder, and then I can navigate into test by saying cd test. Cd stands for change directory. So every command has a acronym associated with it, and now this folder is empty. So I'm going to create a couple of empty files in this folder by issuing this command called as touch. So I'll say touch abc.txt, www.pdf. Touch command will create the file if the file doesn't exist. Now if I say ls, I'll see those two files. And if I want to see the long listing of all the files with all the permissions of the files, I say ls minus al. Now besides these two files, I also see two other files here called dot and dot dot. So dot is nothing but the current directory, and dot dot is a parent directory. So if I want to go to the parent of this folder, which is the home directory is always referenced with tilde. All I have to do is I have to say cd dot dot, cd space dot dot.